Good morning, students. Welcome to the online teaching session of Academic World School Premitra. Dear students, as we are going through with the same topic, planning, today's video lesson will be the last video lesson of the same topic, that is planning. And you might remember that in the last video lesson, we just taught you about plan, what is a plan, the definition of a plan, meaning of a plan, and then two other things which comes within plan, that is single use plans and standing plans, that is repeat use plans. And also if you remember also, we also studied the types of plan, and we studied actually there are 8 types, but we studied on the last video lesson first 4 types, that was objective, strategies, policies and procedures. And in today's video lesson, as you can see the subtopics, types of plans, the last 4 we are taking, methods, rules, programs and budgets. And then we'll go through with the distinction, 2 distinctions, that is between rules and methods and procedures and methods. So we'll start with the first, that is first types of plan, that is methods. You can see here they have written about methods. The method is actually a standing plan. That means it's a standing plan, and that means it's a sort of repeat plans, and it can be defined, we are just defining it, it can be defined as a systematized or formalized way of doing or performing job. That means it is a proper way, systematized or formalized way, it's a formal way of doing the things, how to do a thing, that is called as a method, and doing or performing the jobs. Doing or performing the jobs. The managers decide beforehand, the managers here will decide beforehand, before doing the job, beforehand, that means decide beforehand the way of doing a job, how the job is to be done, so that there remains no doubts in the minds of the employees. That means how to do a job, that means who will be doing that job? Employees. So they'll be informing the employees how to do the job, so that there is no doubts in the minds of the employees how to do or perform that job. That is why it is called as the systematized or formalized way of doing or performing jobs. So next is, the important things here is methods to bring uniformity in the action of employees. What is that? First thing is, it is a method, that means that these are the methods to bring uniformity in the action of employees. That means all employees do in the same way. That means if they know the things, they can do the work in the same way. It acts as a guide for employees. Employees know what to do and how to do the thing. And lastly, it is important as it saves time, money and efforts and increases efficiency. It saves time, money, efforts and increases efficiency. It also increases the efficiency. Now, we will go with the rules, that is also a standing plan. You can see rules. It spells out the special actions or non-actions, what you have to do, what not to do. Rules. See, it spells out the special actions or non-actions of employees, what they have to do, what they should not do. There is no discretion allowed in rules. That means you cannot change it anytime. You have to do it. There is no discretion allowed in the rules. There is no discretion allowed in the rules. So you can see here the words a little bit. Discretion, D-I-S-C-R-E-T-I-O-N. There is no discretion allowed in the rules. It is mainly done to create discipline. That means rules are mainly brought to maintain discipline, to create a discipline, so that nobody breaks the discipline. To create discipline. Then the important points are, it specifies what to do or what not to do. As I already told you, the actions and non-actions, what to do and what not to do. And then the next one is, these are code or general instructions in an organization. Code of instructions, what to do, what not to do, what the employee should be doing, what they should not be doing. So these are code or general instructions in an organization. In an organization. In an organization. In an organization. So these are code of general instructions in an organization. Now we move to this was 5 and 6, we move to the 7 program. It is called as a single use plan. That means for once. See, what is it? These are actually combination of rules. That means together combination of rules, policies, objectives and procedures. What I told, these are actually combination of rules, policies, procedures and objectives, and together form a program. That means all these together form a program. The programs are made to get a proper or systematic working in the organization. Why are these programs made? See, it is written to get a proper or systematic working in organization. That means the work should be done properly, in a systematic way, in a nice way, the way in which the organizations want it to be accomplished or done. So the programs are made. The programs are made to get a proper or systematic working in an organization. It is prepared at different levels, not only in the top levels but also middle and lower levels. Every level has their own programs. They have chalked out programs, so they do the work according to that. And an example of a program can be opening of a new assembly line or a new office. We can write here, or a new office, or a new office. Opening of a new assembly line or a new office, or constructing a new cafeteria. You are constructing a new cafeteria. Now we will move up with the last one, that is budgets. It is also called as single use plans. One time, budget. It is expressed, budgets are expressed in numerical terms. In numerical terms. That means in numerical terms. Numbers, numerical terms. Budgets, these are expressed, we express in numerical terms, and is the statement. What is the budget? It's a statement of expected future results. What is going to happen in future? My dear students, we never prepare budgets for the past. Have you heard that we have prepared budgets for the past? Never. Budgets are always for the future. So what we are expecting, the future. So it is written, it is expressed in numerical terms, always in numerical terms, and is the statement of expected future results. What is going to happen in future? Budgets are financial in nature, financial, connected with monetary things. A company, this is company, a company, CO dot is a company prepares financial budget, but it can also prepare other types of budgets such as sales budget, capital budget, operational budget, etc. What are the types of other than financial budget? Sales budget, capital budget, operational budget, and budgets are prepared by the managers at all levels. That means these budgets are prepared by the managers for all the levels. So my dear students, we just studied these types of plans, methods, rules, programs and budgets. And now dear students, we will also go with the next part, that is distinction between rules and methods and procedures and methods. But first let me rub it out now. Okay, first we will start with the distinction between The first one, rules and methods. Rules and methods. Here we can write methods, and here we can write rules. So the distinction between rules and methods. Rules are very specific. Rules are very specific or very rigid. Methods are specific but flexible. Write the points, I'll explain it. Second, it improves behavior of employees. It improves behavior of employees. It improves behavior of employees, and here it can be, it brings quantity improvement in standardization. Improvement and standardization. There is number 3. There is strict penalty. There is strict penalty, and if rules are not followed. If rules are not followed. If rules are not followed, there is strict penalty if the rules are not followed. And here we can write, there can be warning, but no penalties. There can be warning but no penalties if methods are changed or not followed. Third one you have written. The fourth one, it is norms for action. It is norms for action. It is norms for action, or it is norms for action or non-action. It is norms for action or non-action. It is the way of performing. It is the way of performing routine jobs. Okay, dear students, I have just written, then I will also write examples of this one. We'll give the examples. Let's see the rules and methods. The first distinction between rules and methods. Rules are very specific. That means it cannot be changed. Rules are specific. Specified rules are very rigid. There is no swaying away from the rules. Very specific, to the point, and rigid. It cannot be changed. Sorry. Whereas methods are specific but flexible. Sometimes methods can be little bit changed if necessary. Not always, but if necessary. But rules are very specific and rigid. Second point, it improves behavior of employees. Rules actually makes the employees behave well. That means rules are strong. I told you it is very rigid, it cannot be changed. So these are mainly to improve the behavior of employees. But here in methods, it brings quantity improvement and standardization. It brings quantity improvement and standardization. Quantity improvement and to bring the standardization in the organization. Good method, standard method to bring standardization. Number 3, rules. Under rules, there is strict penalty. I think you got what I am trying to explain. There is strict penalty if rules are not followed. If you don't follow the rules, there is a strict penalty if you are not following the rules. And there can be warning. This is WARNING. There can be warning, but no penalties. There can be warning, but no penalties if methods are changed or not followed. If you change the method, there is no penalty, but yes, warning can come. Why did you change the method? You should not have changed the method if somebody changes it. So there can be warning, but no penalties if the methods are changed or not followed. And then last one under the rules, it is norms. This is NORMS, norms for action / non-action. It is a norms for action or non-action. And here it is the way of performing routine jobs. What is it? It is the way of performing routine jobs. Now let's take an example of rules. Let's say no smoking. Rules in the organization, it is written no smoking rules. You cannot, it's very rigid, you cannot change it. But what can be the example of a method? Let's say following diminishing balance method, diminishing balance method of depreciation. See, following diminishing balance method of depreciation. This is the method, but this is rule. Okay, I think you understood this. Just see those points. 4 here, 4 there, and then few examples. One example. Okay. We will now move to the second of the distinctions, that is, this one is done. Now we'll start doing this one. Procedures and methods. Okay, let me rub it out. Procedures and methods. Procedures and methods. Distinction between procedures and methods. Distinction between procedures and methods. Procedures and methods. Let me rub out this part. Procedures and methods, and previously studied rules and methods. Okay. Okay. We'll go on writing. It is implementation of policies. It helps in actually. It helps in implementation of policies. It helps in implementation of policy. And in methods, we can write, it helps in standardization. It helps in standardization it helps in standardization and coordination of activity. These are more rigid. Procedures are more rigid, but here these are less rigid or flexible. These are less rigid or flexible. Number 3, these are the sequences or steps under procedures. These are the sequences or steps. These are the sequences or the steps which are followed, where it is followed, which are followed for performing important tasks or jobs. These are the sequences or steps which are followed for performing important tasks or jobs. Now what shall we write here? These are formal ways. These are formal ways of doing or performing a routine job. These are formal ways of doing or performing a routine job. Okay, we'll give some example also at the end. Now let's discuss on this. Dear students, the first one we are discussing is procedure. It helps in implementation of policy. What's the organization's policy? To implement it. So it is needed. It helps in the procedures, help in the implementation of the organization policies. In methods, it helps in standardization and coordination of activity. It helps in standardization and coordination of activity. That is what methods. So methods help in standardization, to get standardization, and coordination of activity, to coordinate the various activities through the methods. Second is, these are more rigid. Which is more rigid? Procedures are rigid. You have to follow that procedure, it cannot be changed. But the methods, these are less rigid. These are less rigid or flexible. That means methods are less rigid or flexible. This is more rigid, as I already told you. Procedures are more rigid. You cannot change procedures. You have to follow that particular procedure. You cannot simply change it. But methods are less rigid. That means not that much rigid or flexible. It means that if there is a demand according to the situation, slightly methods can be changed to achieve the task. And then the third one, under the procedures, these are the sequences or steps, various steps or sequences, one by one, which are followed for performing important tasks or jobs. Important tasks or jobs. Once again, these are the sequences or steps. So I just underline this one, sequences or steps, which are followed for performing, that means which we follow for performing important task or job. That is a procedure. Now, as we go with the methods, you can see these are formal ways, the formal ways of doing or performing a routine job. That means a normal routine job, how do we perform? It's the formal way of doing a job. Now, if we take an example of procedure. Banking audit procedure. Banking audit procedure. There is a procedure when you audit in a bank, do the bank audit. And the method says valuation of inventory, or stock. This is a method. By which method, in which way do you value your inventory or stocks? So, dear students, we have just come to the end of this particular video lesson. Don't forget that we'll be giving you the assignments for this particular video lesson, and this is the last one, as I already told you, for this particular topic. So your assignments will be uploaded on ERP. Make sure that when you go through this video lesson, make your notes and answer the questions or the assignments which is given to you, uploaded on the ERP. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.